My name's Dave Dupree. I've been a foster father about 24 years. Uh, we've had about 150 children come through the home. A lot of good stories and a lot of bad stories. Working with the parents is it's hard. Like I say, some of them resent that we have their children. We try our best to work with them. To see the kids go back home with them is a good experience. New foster parents should be in it for the long run.
My name is Linda Dupree, and it's not 24 years, it's 25 years this year that we've been foster parents. We've had over 150 foster kids come through our house. I was a foster kid, so this was kind of a giving back thing for me. I sometimes want to quit because I get burnt out, but then the kids that we have, you know, you kind of just keep rolling with it till you get them home, or you keep them. Like we have two we're adopting. My foster parents that I had I couldn't ask for more wonderful people. They saved my life. My family life was, to say the least, I can't even say anything nice. My foster family, I went from Massachusetts all the way over to Texas, which was quite a distance, into a foster home. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I can honestly say right now I wouldn't have met my husband. I'd probably be an alcoholic or a drug addict or dead. So my foster care experience was a good one, which is probably what drew me, why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I would give new foster parents about working with the agency to work as much as possible, talk with them, get as much information as you can, keep making the phone calls to them if they can't get to you, because their caseloads are overwhelming. There are so many. Some of these workers leave their house like 6 o'clock in the morning, don't get home till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and it takes a while to get in touch with. But go down to the office if you have to, talk to a supervisor, talk to a fellow worker, but work with them as much as you can, because it's the kids that you're trying to help. If you need information, be there. I think the greatest joy of foster parenting for me, I think I agree with my husband, is seeing all the different kinds of kids that have come through this house. And there have been plenty. We've had AIDS babies, we've run the whole gamut with the kids. We've had everything. And I think the greatest joy is seeing them go home, being happy that they're going home, seeing that everything worked out for the good. The greatest joy of seeing a parent, a biological parent, get their kids back is seeing them become a parent. That's kind of the greatest joy I think about working with them, is seeing them actually say, this is how it's supposed to be done, and I can do it now, and I'm going to get my kids back. It's not an easy job. It's a long job. You're going to go to bed some nights crying. You're going to wake up crying sometimes. But there's also going to be a lot of happy crying, because there's so many things out there with these kids, so many.
Yes, I'm Colleen Ben Moshe. I've been a foster parent for 6 years now. I've been with Therapeutic for 5 years. I've had about 8 children with me. Well, first of all, you have to want to do this. You have to want to bring kids into your home, because it's not just have them for a week and then you don't want them anymore. They're used to that. They need stability. If you want to do it and you have the time, you have the patience, the understanding, you want to work with the kids, the families, then go for it. Basically, one child I had used to set fires and make bombs, and that was very challenging, because out in the neighborhood, it got very tense with the neighbors, and we had to constantly watch him and make sure he wasn't doing this sort of thing, endangering other children and people. Well, basically with that behavior, we had to do a lot of family activities. We had to make sure everyone was safe, so we would go out together a lot, make sure the child felt safe, comfortable with us, and then later, as he would progress, he could go out with other kids and play, and obviously watching him constantly. But just being a part of the family and making himself feel like he was part of the family, it helped a lot. It's a great experience. It's nothing like you could experience anywhere else. It's a one in a million experience.
Jean. I have two foster daughters and two sons of my own. We've had our first foster child in last November, so about a year. It's going to be a year.
Franz Jean-Felix, my wife Regine, which you just met. We have two children and two foster daughters. I think the decision for the girls was that we don't have girls of our own. And I guess one of the
I miss
experiences.
the combing of the hair and the dressing up.
She needed some playmates. Yeah, we have two girls, and both of them have totally different personalities, different needs. Teresa, who's the youngest, is very clingy, very needy. She's not accustomed to having a father figure. So it took her a while to, and she's still learning that, understanding how to, how can I put this?
Trust.
Trust, exactly, thanks. How to trust a positive role model, male role model in their life. Just reassure them. I mean, it's a constant reassurance from the moment they wake up in the morning, reassuring them that, yes, I'm here. I'm the first thing you're gonna see when you wake up and the last thing you're gonna see before you go to bed. More importantly, when you wake up tomorrow morning again, nothing's gonna change. I'm still gonna be here. I'm not going anywhere. To making breakfast, walking, talking with them, taking them to school or to the bus, picking them up after that.
Ooh, at first it was hard for my youngest one because he was really, did not want any foster children. He just wanted the way it was, just brother and mom and dad. And so he didn't have to share, and he didn't understand. He thought they were bad kids and someone that would really hurt them. And now, hey, he looks out for them. He looks out for the youngest one.
I would first say discuss it with your entire family, especially if you have kids, because you'll be able to deal with it. Your kids, if you didn't discuss it with them, will not be able to deal with it. If anything, they may start to incorporate some of those behaviors as their own, and you will be overwhelmed and lose control of your house quickly. But if you discuss it with them ahead of time, prepare them for it, and invite them, let them make that decision for themselves to go through that transition, things should work themselves out. And the other kid, the foster kids themselves, will know it also. They'll see the difference, because we experienced that with our own, especially with our youngest one. It was a very hard transition for him. Like my wife just said, now he's the one that looks out for them. He taught us how to identify triggers in the girls before they happen. We mentioned Teresa's name a lot. That's self-explanatory there. But you will see him literally take her hand and walk her over to you. She's not well now. Yeah. And that's his way of telling you you know what, she needs that one-on-one with you now.
Keep her close.
Keep her close, bring her down, So when we're happy, we're glad. We invited them into that decision-making point.
My name is Joseph Pearson, and be a foster parent about 1 year, and I believe it's 8 months. 1 year, 8 months. And I start, my mother became foster parent, and I was living at home. I was 21 years old. I had 2 jobs. I was working overnight and in the afternoon too. In the beginning, I tried not to get really involved, with the kids. Most of them was girls, and I introduce myself when they come home and welcome them. And when I meet, if they have their parents, sometimes if they come over my house, I try to make them welcome and try to keep distance. By the time, the years, I was more interested in learning more about it. And it was very interesting for me. Later on, I moved to an apartment, And then I met my wife, who is now my wife, and we get married. And I talked to her about it, and I was interested because I feel like it was like a gift from God. I could help the way my mom been helping many kids, and the way she was raised me, you know, with values in my family. Then I learned a lot from her, and I see that she learned a lot more, you know, because being a foster parent. Then me and my wife, we decided to become foster parent. First of all, I started working, like we working with 2 boys, and most of the foster children that live in my house was girls. But in this moment, the more advance I see in the progress is because the aggression, sometimes they get aggressive, hard to understand them, or their past because they have a lot of anger, and it's one of the problems. You have to become like a friend with the child, but also show them respect, show them that you have the role model as a parent. And even so, sometimes they know you're not the biological parent. Sometimes they see you as a biological parent, and they see you as a role model, as example, somebody that they need to be protected, somebody they need to you know, like follow, like, you know, when you're a child and you always want to be Superman or something. Always, sometimes they see you as like that. They want to be like you, and you just have to be the best, you know, of yourself. I think it's wonderful if they really take the step and do it. It's not going to be easy, but they have to give a lot, you know, of themselves. You know, they have to really do it, you know, with your heart. Really, you know, with your heart to do a job like that.
Hey, my name is Linda Day. I've been a foster parent for almost 26 years, and we've had over 400 children. My advice for a new foster parent would be to stay in contact with your agency. Sometimes they're really busy and it's real hard for them to call you right back, but I usually call them and bug them until they call me back. There's about the information about the kids. Make sure you have all the things that you need, you know, when the kids come to you. Information about the birth parents, when you can make the first visit. Some parents, you might not be able to make a first visit for a period of time. It depends on what the situation is. If it's a situation where you can, try to make that visit as soon as you can, because that birth parent needs to see those children. Those children need to see the birth parent and know that they're okay. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like maybe a loved one was supposed to be home at 9 o'clock at night, and they don't get home, and it's now 10, 11, 12. And, you know, I mean, the first thing that goes to your mind is all the worst things. It's not like, oh, gee, maybe he had a flat tire, maybe he's having a good time, or whatever happened, you know. You're thinking about the worst thing, you know, they're dead on the side of the road, start calling the hospitals, you know. Well, basically, I think that's what happens a lot of times with the kids. The first thing they think of is, where's mom and dad? What happened to them? Are they okay? You know, the kids need to know that. The birth parents also, they need to know if their kids are okay. And I think that's one of the important things that we need to remember as foster parents, and not be too fast to judge our birth parents, because they're people just like us. And they have come from, you know, situations maybe different than us. But they still, you know, we're not perfect. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's hard to make a visitation every week. Sometimes there might be things that you feel that you need to do, other things in your life that are happening. And I think that if you work with your birth parents and you know, get to know them, where you have a special day that's coming up, or a weekend or something, that you'll be able to make arrangements with them. You know, they understand that, you know, you have a life too. And, you know, it's important to them. I feel as a dedicated foster parent that that's what I'm here for, is to help my birth parents and my foster children through, you know, the time that they're in foster care. And if you can give them that support, then you're going to have a lot of successes. And I mean, I have had birth parents that were not able to take their children back, and they knew, and have been with them when they have signed surrenders for adoption, and have been able to find adopted parents that would keep an open communication with them when they adopted the children, so it was an open adoption, and those birth parents knew that their children were still okay. So I feel, you know, that if you're able to get to know them and work with them, then they have a better chance for the child to have success in life.